Welcome to Sprint 10 of the HelloDBP demo. And in this sprint, we're going to create a dashboard, a user dashboard using MashZone Next Generation. And it's going to show data from digital event services, Terracotta database, and from digital event persistence.
All right, Jay, that's great. So we've now API enabled stuff, we've event enabled stuff, but still it means people are going to have to program stuff to be able to visualize it. And I don't see our people looking at all these consoles and things you've been showing me. So is there a way that we can now actually visualize this this information to, in some kind of a dashboard where they can see all these events, they can look at the data coming from a particular device, or even go browse back in the history of that. Can you help us build a dashboard like that?
Yes. I know. Our agents are not going to be looking at these event consoles in Designer, so we have to build a nice tool for them. And I don't know if you remember, but now we got data everywhere. We got it in Terracotta DB, some of the data there. We got some in events and some in the long-term storage. So we're going to need a dashboard that's available to see these different data sources. And so MashZone NextGen does that. So we're going to, actually, before I create a new dashboard, I'm going to show you one that's already built just to remind myself of what I'm going to build. And then we're going to show pulling some data from Terracotta DB, showing some events that are real-time events, another kind of dashboard widget for the healthometer, and then we'll show filtering. So if you click here, then it selectively highlights some of the other things in the dashboard. And we're going to do this by looking at the real events. Remember, we've been doing HelloDBP demo events, and in the Apama project we just did, it showed real HelloDBP events. So I'm going to be simulating the real events now, the DBP ones. So let me switch over and show the completed dashboard.
Okay, starting the sprint timer now.
Right. Yes, good. And I'm going to, this doesn't have any events yet, so I'm going to run a simulator that calls create a device, and it calls a bunch of update events, and then so we'll see something live going on. So I just built a little utility here, and I'm going to run it and say I'm not going to delete it, say that's false, and then switch over to this dashboard, and in a second it'll update itself because it's got auto refresh, and then we'll take a look at some of these events that are happening. So you can see everything happened at once here. We had one of these events within 10 seconds, it dropped in health, so we created an alert, and then later on another of these happened. So remember, we have the Apama project running. All these events are being stored to Elasticsearch, and so all these events are being displayed here. These are the real-time events. Here's the healthometer that's showing the average of all the recent events. So we generate a whole lot of alerts here, and let's go see how to build this dashboard. So I'm going to create a new one here.
So yes, what Jay's doing here is now going to go and build a number of those elements in the dashboard that you've just seen. So the first thing you're going to do is going to get a grid layout. So this is one where you can just show data in a tabular form. And you see it's nice and easy to space these things. So there we got that that table. We're going to get another tabular data, another grid right next to it. There we go. And now you can assign data to that grid.
So this one is from Terracotta DB, yeah.
Right. So Terracotta DB, remember, is our in-memory data store with the current status of things. You already set up the connection, which is just URL and credentials, and you can see there when you hit calculate preview, it'll go and retrieve that, because if you recall, Terracotta is schemaless, so it can't retrieve schema data, so it's actually gone and queried some of the actual data to determine the fields, just like we did with the Terracotta DB adapter. So we've decided there what the columns are, ID, name, and health. And because health is numeric, we can very nicely define thresholds for that to highlight any issues. So in this case, remember the health is from 0 to 100. So we're saying that anything above 50 is green, between 50 and 25 is yellow, and below 25 is red. There we go, and you're immediately on the top left seeing a preview of what that table is about. Now, in this this next group within that, we're going to create a line graph. So we saw a line chart. Again, we'll pick assigned data. And this, if you recall, is going to be working based on the events. So we've picked the events. Again, this, because it's linked up with digital events, it knows about the event types. We pick the time for the x-axis, because of course we want to show as time moves on, and the vertical, the y-axis, is going to be health. And we need to partition it by ID, because we don't want to have all the health from all of our things there. So we're going to have some sort of filtering there where we can pick a particular thing, and we'll use the same coloring ranges for that, sort of 50 to 100, 25 to 50, and 0 to 25. And also, because we know the y-axis, normally you don't need to do this because it will automatically change the scale of the y-axis to match the data range it's had, but we know that health goes from 0 to 100, so to keep it constant, we're going to scale it within that range.
And I forgot to do one thing, and you're not going to know this because I forgot to do it. I want to set the refresh rate from the Terracotta DB to every 15 seconds, and then whenever I go to this,
that was on the table on the left again.
Yeah. I click that one, and I want to do click auto refresh, and now every 15 seconds it's going to go back to Terracotta DB and refresh this window. The events are already live.
The line chart is streaming anyway.
Yep. So now let's just do one more thing. Let's add this healthometer, just showing that you can have two different data feeds. So for this one, we're going to say I'm going to look at the same events as before. Events.
Same thing, but now we're going to do some aggregation on it. So again, calculate preview, we get the fields, pick the health as the data.
And the average, I'm going to leave it as the average.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say whole numbers, and then the threshold's the same as before, so that we can see nice colorization and it's consistent across all the widgets. Okay. I think that's it. So I'm not going to build the other one. There's one other little thing we can do. Just put the label on top here, just to show that you can add text. I'm going to call this thing central. So, and then format that. I think we can just go here and say that it's this big one header. Yeah. So this, let's go ahead and look at it now. Ordinarily we'd save it and we'd complete it, but in the interest of time, I just want to show that this is now live. I didn't put the headers and the nice all these nice things in it, but I want to send some events just to show that this is live. Oh, there's one other thing. I didn't put the legend on here, so let me go ahead and for this line chart, I like always having a legend. I'm going to put that on the right, and now we can see those things. So now let's switch over and run.
All right, sprints up, so we're in the demo.
Yep. So
that's amazing. Dashboard in 6 minutes.
Yep. Let's say go ahead and run another one through here. And there should be a new one. What's the new one? This blue one over here. So 352. So that's the new one. And I didn't hook this up. Remember I said I was going to hook up the filtering. So we still have time to do that. So right now, all these events are showing all of them all the time, even when I click this. So let's go ahead and edit that. I forgot to do that. So I said for this chart, whenever I click, I want the ID to be the same as the ID over here. So whenever I select something in the grid, I want that to affect the line chart. So I'm going to save that. And the same thing for this other one, the healthometer, I want to do the same filter. So I go here and I say whenever the ID is the same as this ID, then I want it to only show the data from that one. So now when I run it and I pick 352, so now we only see the chart for 352 and we only see the health for 352 as well. So if I click over here, I don't see anything because we didn't have that data going through. I think there might have been another one. Yeah, so this one is, so you can imagine our agents, they would say, hey, we've detected an alert on thing 142. They could come here and they could look at the historical data. Remember in this one, this is the one that's already done. We've got the historical data. If we go to 352 or 142, the historical data, the recent events, the average health and recently, and any alerts that happen, all in one place, pulled from many different data sources. Any questions, Jonathan?
No, I think that's awesome. When can we get started?
Okay.
Anyway, let's review where we're at.
Yes. Okay.
So we already had these events and the alerts flowing through the digital event layer. So we were now able to consume those, both the events and the alerts into MashZone Next Gen to create that dashboard. We also used JDBC to pull things out of the event store, and we also pulled stuff out of TerracottaDB directly. So bunch of different data sources, and all of that, in fact, without writing a line of code. As you saw, it was all drag and drop and configuration.